hiring coaches for myself. The reason I say that is because when I say I have a beautiful blended family and I've, built a top producing team in my previous brokerage and have built coaching programs, I really want to reiterate that that is not how I always identified. In fact, I really thought that I was not smart growing up. I identified as somebody who could not comprehend things. I did not do well in school. I identified as not being smart in school. And that was validated to me not once, but twice over. Eighth grade was actually, I was voted as class airhead. And not only was I voted class airhead in the eighth grade, I was also voted class airhead again to validate the story I was telling myself of not being smart my senior year of high school. So I held the identity of I am not a smart person for many, many years. And everything that I did was a reflection of the identity that I held within. Not only that, once I graduated high school, took a couple years off, floundered, partied, did the whole thing. My siblings were at a university, and finally I decided to go. Once I went, I found myself pregnant my senior year. So I did everything I could possible to unknowingly, unconsciously, sabotage any success that I may have not been able to see for myself because I did not identify as a successful person. Pregnant in college, not only pregnant in college, when my boyfriend at the time found out I was pregnant, he left me. So I was alone. I then identified as somebody who was not worthy of love. I identified as somebody who was very broken. I definitely identified as somebody who was broke, and my outside world 100% reflected that. Fast forward, a year and a half later, found myself pregnant by the same man again, after he left me, pregnant for my first. So that is just how I started to see myself. I started to feel not only broke, I felt broken. And the crazy thing is that my two most beautiful gifts in this world, I finally discovered after years and years of coaching, I actually felt shame around that. I felt shame of having two children unwed. I felt shame of having their father not involved. I felt shame around the story that I had created around that, because there's a beautiful story on the other side. What was happening when I was a single mom was I actually had the help of my parents. And I will tell you, the help of my parents was just a blessing beyond what I can even describe. Not only did my mom help me raise my children, she worked in the same building as me. When I was in real estate, she was also in title. So every day I saw my mom. She was my biggest cheerleader. I talked to her every single day. She would come into my office and she knew that paying the bills was a struggle. She would sometimes even just make sure I had half a sandwich of hers to eat because she didn't know. When I say it was broken, what I mean is I remember literally looking at her car seats for change to be able to get my kids a couple hamburgers. I remember showing up with the big orange sticker on the door saying, gas is turned off. I struggled. And I will tell you, the reason I did not hit rock bottom is because my parents helped me and because my mom believed in me. I talked to her every day. Every time I would go on a listing appointment, every time I would go to see buyers, she would be like, you go, girl, you got this. No matter what, you can do this. And so no matter how much I doubted myself, my mom was speaking words of affirmation into me. And so I couldn't wait to tell her the successes that I had. In 2015, my mom was killed in a car accident. And my world was shook. My world was shook. I did not just have to learn how to live without my mom. I had to learn how to live without my best friend. I had to learn how to live without my biggest cheerleader. I had to learn how to live without the person that I looked forward to when walking into the office every single day. And what I really want to do today is reiterate to you, I don't want for your world to be shook, to have to change some of these inner beliefs that you have, some of these limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves. Because without her words of affirmation to me, I did not know how to identify. I did not know. And it was about 8 months to a year of a fog. She was taken suddenly. I realized that this is not a dress rehearsal. And after about 8 months to a year, I remember kind of picking myself back up and being in my car and going on listing appointments. And I found myself having conversations with her very similarly to the ones when I had with her when she was in the physical world. And those were, Mom, I'm going on a listing appointment. And I would say back to myself, you got this. You go, girl. Of course, they're going to want to list with you. Of course, you're going to sign that listing. Of course, you're going to find them the perfect home. Of course, you're going to build a beautiful business. I found myself speaking to me the way that my mom used to speak to me. Because of that, I finally felt worthy to invest in myself. So I invested in business coaches. I invested in a one-on-one business coach for the majority of my real estate career. And so that really led me to be able to build a business. There are different coaches out there. You can call them all over the board, but really what you're going to find is there's about 3 different types of coaches. And you're going to find that there's business coaches who are going to walk you through systems and the how-to. I did that, and I will tell you, it got me to a certain level. It was awesome. In fact, I sometimes have to slow myself down now because I'm always like, put me in, coach, just tell me what to do. Just tell me how to get there. I'm really coachable. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. But what I realized was that after a certain point, I could only get so far because my mindset was limited. What I could see for myself was limited. And so it was, I believe it was around 2019, 2020, I realized I still have some things holding me back. And so I invested in Thinking into Results with Bob Proctor. If you don't know him, he has since passed, but he is the old man with the white hair on The Secret, very much a mindset coach and mentor, has some great programs out there. So if you don't know who that is, look him up. Definitely helped me change my mindset, how I saw myself, and actually uncovered some limiting beliefs. Now I am very much involved with a manifestation coach. And so that language might not resonate with some of you, and I totally understand that. I kind of thought it was a little woo-woo when I first heard it. And so what you'll hear me say when I talk about manifestation coach is you will hear that she's a spiritual coach, but you will hear me say manifestation. You will also hear me use God. You will hear me say that I very much believe in a higher power. And I very much will say that this coaching alone has strengthened that relationship that I have with God and my belief. So when you hear manifestation, if that language scares you, totally okay. Use whatever language it is that you choose to, whether it be energy, vibration, law of attraction, God, spirit, source, whatever that is that resonates with you. What I have learned is that by believing in a higher power, it expedites results. It expedites results. So you will hear business coaches, mindset coaches, spiritual coaches. What I really want to say is I've invested in all of them. And I actually believe that it's more of like a holistic approach. And I love to bring that to my clients. I love to show you how it all pulls together and how it's so important. So what I've learned and what I cannot wait to share with you is that whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want, whatever you feel pulled to by inspiration, you already hold the power. You already have it. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. The only thing you have to do is understand how to change the inner story that you tell yourself. That's it. So some of you showed up today because maybe there is something in your business that you're finding hard to achieve. Maybe there's something in your personal life that you're struggling with. Maybe there's just something, a calling that you feel that there's more out there for you. What I want you to know is that that feeling that you have within you is not an accident. You already hold the power within you to achieve that. You're just telling yourself a crap story. And that's really what it comes down to. So I thought, gosh, all right. I know I was for sure telling myself a crap story. I know I was for sure telling myself a story of you're not smart. And my outside world started to validate that to me. I started telling myself a story of you're not worthy. You're broke. You're broken. My outside world started to validate that to me. What if I had just changed that story quicker than what I actually did? What if I changed the story as when I was raising my children to, you're a kick-ass mom. You're making it happen. You're showing these kids what's possible. That would have changed my life and their life so much sooner had I known that I hold the power within. I'll never forget one day, my son came home from school. He was younger. And he said to me, Mom, my teacher asked who our hero was today. And I was like, oh, crap. Who's your hero? He said, it's you. I'm so excited. I told my whole class and my teacher today that you are my hero. Let me tell you, I remember that day vividly. I also remember what I was thinking of myself that day before he came home. I was worried about paying bills. I was beating myself up. I was telling myself a story that didn't serve me. And I looked at myself and went, something's got to change. Something's got to change. If I'm his hero, what example am I setting? And I got to tell you, just like all of you probably who have kids, like, like we all think our kids are the most beautiful and the smartest and the best and so worthy. And, they're all going to change the world and do great things. What I want you to know is your impact on how you look at yourself, how you love yourself, how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself is a much greater impact on your children than you beating yourself up and telling them that they can do it anyway. They will watch what you do. They will watch who you are before they listen to you and how great you think they are. So really think about that if that is something that, you've embodied. A prime example, I'm going to let you know about this and I'm going to be real vulnerable. I remember my mom thinking I was the bee's knees. I have no idea. Maybe she was just really good at pouring affirmations into me. At the same time, she would tell me I could do anything. I'd see her looking in the mirror and going, God, you're so old. You need to lose some weight. I look so fat today. Not wanting to go to her job, overworked, burnt out. Not because she was doing anything wrong. She just didn't know any better. She didn't know she held the power within her. And that was a language that I picked up. I picked that up. I believed that about myself. In very, very strongly inside. Her affirmations to me kept me afloat, absolutely. But it was not until I learned to start saying those to myself that things really started to change. So if you are here and you're going, I don't know why I showed up, maybe that's the reason right there. I don't know. But so the inner dialogue really, really matters. How you speak to yourself in front of your children matters. So I started thinking about this limiting belief thing, and I was like, yeah, this is crazy. We all hold limiting beliefs. In fact, you kind of think that you're the only one until you start coaching and mentoring or managing. I know there's some managers around here, or you're a parent, and you start hearing the language and you go, everybody has them. And in fact, we all do have them. So I started looking it up and I was like, all right, that is really interesting. Limiting beliefs is a state of mind or a belief about yourself that restricts you in some way. These beliefs are often false accusations that you make about yourself that can cause a number of negative results. Here's why. A limiting belief is a judgment about yourself that you think to be true that restricts you in some way. I want you to think about the word judgment. It's a huge word there. Okay. When we have a limiting belief, we are literally judging ourselves in some way, shape, or form. It's judgment. Because I am a firm believer that we are absolutely born perfect. I believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we are born perfect. I wasn't born, and because I didn't know how to read or walk, think, I'm unworthy. I'm stupid. Can't do it. No. I was born perfect. But I created a belief about myself based off of what was just going on in my outside world. I judged it. That belief came from a judgment that I had about myself. Now, there's good judgments, there's bad judgments, or you can say there's no good or bad, right? Everything just is until you put the feeling and the thought behind it. And then that becomes your truth. Okay? Everything just is until we decide it's true. Then it's a belief. Let me repeat that. Everything just is until we decide it's true. Then it's a belief. So growing up thinking I wasn't smart. Maybe I failed a test. Maybe someone said it to me. Maybe someone made a comment like, oh, you're such an airhead. I have no idea where that thought came from, originated from. But somewhere I believed it and I made it my truth. Had I just failed a test, what would have been is I just failed a test. That just is. I just didn't have enough knowledge yet to be able to do well on it. That's all it is. But I believed it to be true. I believed that, and I made up a story that I lived my life by, a limited belief that said, you're not smart. And I embodied that and I acted as if. So let's go through some of the limiting beliefs. In fact, we're going to go through 10 of them. 10 of the most common limiting beliefs that we hold. And I would love if you would put in the comments if you can identify maybe a limiting belief that you have. Number one, I'm not good enough. The number one limiting belief that we hold. I'm not good enough. For whatever reason, something happened in your past. For whatever reason, I'm not good enough. I'm too old or I'm too young. I see this a lot. I remember, just even hearing, my dad talking, in his job. Well, I'm in my 50s. No one's going to want to hire me. So I'm going to stay miserable in what I'm doing right now and retire from here. I'm too old, right? I also see it in coaching when I have like agents that I coach and they're like maybe 20. They have a limiting belief that no one's going to want to work with somebody who's, as young as me. You can tell by looking at me that I don't have experience. The other one, I don't have enough time. Isn't that an ironic one? I don't have enough time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So what are we prioritizing? The I don't have enough time is a real interesting one to me. Because I used to be a people pleaser. I am a person that really worried about if people were mad at me or what they thought of me. And so I don't have enough time just meant I don't prioritize. I value other people. I value what other people need from me. I value, all things equally. And so how could I possibly fit in one more thing? I don't have enough time. Number 4, I'm not smart enough. Whew. We all know that was one of mine, for sure. I'm not smart enough. So why even try? So why even try? I don't have enough experience. I'll never be successful. I don't have enough money for that. I'll never be one of the best. I'm not talented enough, and I'll never be a great leader. Anyone have any limiting beliefs that I didn't mention or resonate with any of those? Victoria says, so true. Children learn from what they see. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Children learn from what they see. I'm not outgoing enough to be successful in sales. I'm not outgoing enough. Ooh. I'm not outgoing. I'm shy. Right? We hear people say, I'm shy. Were we born shy? No. I'll be like, one of my things is I hear parents say, oh, he's shy. He's shy because you tell him he's shy. He wasn't born shy. Right? He's shy. I'm not outgoing enough. So what would be the opposite of I'm not outgoing enough? Yeah. I'm bold. I very easily make friendships. I'm impactful. John says, can you repeat 6 through 10? Yes, 6 through 10. I don't have enough experience. I'll never be successful. I don't have enough money. I'll never be one of the best. I'm not talented enough. I'll never be a great leader. Good, John? Yeah, we're going to talk about those. Julie, I fight the not enough time as had reiterated so much by a parent. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that interesting? A parent reiterate, I don't have enough time. And so we believe that I don't have enough time. Yeah. Actually, that is so I love the discussion about with the kids that Victoria said, and then Julie said that about what was reiterated. Because here's the thing, research shows that most of our beliefs came to us before the age of 7. Why? Because we did not have a filter at that time. We didn't have a filter to be able to say, do I believe that to be true? Is that my truth? Right? So the vibration, the energy, the frequency, everything that you grew up with, the language that you heard, everything that you grew up with in either your household, the people that raised you, maybe it was a daycare, maybe it was siblings, whatever, most of that came from to you in your subconscious mind for the age of 7. Now think about that. When you're young, your mind is wide open. You're not filtering what you believe to be true and what you don't believe to be true. And so everything just goes right to the subconscious. You're not questioning anything. It is. It just is what it is. It's a belief that is repeated, and you have absorbed that to go, that's true. I don't have a filter to question that. So a lot of our beliefs, a lot of how we handle ourselves, a lot of how we perceive the world came from the house we were raised in, our parents, anyone who had an impact on our life before them. Because we were wide open. We accepted that as truth. So think about what kind of household you were raised in, what kind of parents you had. The beautiful thing is if it wasn't ideal, we do have the power to change it. The sad thing is a lot of people don't know that. They just think, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm destined for this. This is how it is. So what some of the research says, often limiting beliefs start from a young age and progressively evolve and reshape throughout your life as you encounter new experiences. Whether you've had a painful experience that caused you to fear similar encounters or are scared of what's to come, limiting beliefs can prevent positive new beliefs from forming. Absolutely. Limiting beliefs can prevent positive new beliefs from forming. So here's where I want to go with that. When I say I invested in business coaches, I got the playbook. I wanted the how-to. I had the accountability. Put me in, coach. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Make calls. Yep, I'll make calls. Do this. Okay, I'll do that. But there was a level of success that I was going to hit, and it was going to keep on hitting it if I didn't grow myself, if I didn't grow my belief in me, if I didn't grow my mindset. We all think like, just grind, which is great for a while, but then you're going to hit a level in your career, in your life, where you can't grind more. There's no more time to do more. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to live burnt out, resentful. And so when we don't grow our mindset, and we don't expand where that actual thought is coming from, what happens is we do more and we do more and we do more, and then we get really burnt out. Just do more. Just do more. I've been there in my career. I was in a position in my career where I literally wore it as a badge. I work this many hours. Call me anytime. 10 o'clock at night, cranking out deals. Why? Because I was operating from the mindset of, you're not smart. I was operating from the mindset of, it takes a lot of hard work to be successful. It takes a lot of time. You got to make more phone calls than anybody else. You got to be in the office longer than anybody else. You got to do all the things harder, more. That's operating from the mindset of where I was, the level of awareness. You're not smart, so it's going to take you longer. If you're going to become worthy, you're going to have to put in the work. What if I just knew I was worthy? What if I just knew without a shadow of a doubt that no matter what, I can do this? How would that look? What would that do? Right? So think about the limiting beliefs that you have. I promise you, I'm going to say this. Some of you are coming here for entertainment and just to get the information. Others of you are going to really embody this. And when I say that, I mean you're looking for transformation. So, I can look at the hundreds of books I have on my shelves and I can go, oh yeah, I read that. Oh yeah, I read that. Yep, read that. But what I want to say is transformation does not happen until you do the work on you, until you embody it, until you show up for yourself. Knowing the information does not bring results. Okay? So how do we do that? What I would love for you to do is I would love for you to get a journal and write down what it is that you desire. First, write down, what do you want? Do you even know? Do you know that most people haven't even thought about that? Most people don't even know what they want. Most people go to college and get a career because someone else told them it would be a good idea. Someone else said, oh, you'll make a good salesperson one day. So I go, oh, okay, I'm going to go and do sales. But they've never ever thought about, what do I want? What do I desire? And so that is something that really, really needs to happen. What do you want? And the reason that needs to happen is because we've just been programmed to do and do and do to please everybody else. We've been told to grind. We've been told this is how you are successful. So the first step in either getting your prayers answered or manifestation is knowing what you want. So what do you want? Do you have so many limiting beliefs that you haven't gone there? I did. No way would I believe that I would be happily married with a beautiful blended family of 7 right now. No way would I have believed that I was, would have created coaching programs until I actually thought, what do I want? What do I desire for my life? So what do you want? What do you want? By the way, you all have something. What is it that you desire? Is that you want something in your career? Look, here's the thing. Another reason that we don't say what we want is because we've been told a lie. We've been told asking is selfish. We've been told money doesn't grow on trees. You have enough. We've been told, oh, that's not in the works for people like us. We've been told all sorts of lies that we've believed. So what lie are you believing? Because if we're born perfect, we're born worthy, we believe in a higher power. And if you don't believe in a higher power, fine, that's fine too. But I'm going to say this. If God created the oceans and the mountains and red bottom shoes and Maseratis and all the things, whatever. Okay, he didn't create the Maserati and the red bottom shoes, but he definitely gave somebody the insight to do that. Why would he choose me to be limited on having those experiences? We're all born perfect. The only thing flawed about us is the crap story we're telling ourselves. Do you want to be number one in your market if you're a real estate agent? Do you want to open a business? Do you want to impact a ton of lives? Do you want peace and joy? Do you have a level of income that feels really beautiful, but you are stressed and in chaos and lack time? Is that what we want? Less stress. We want time. What would you do at that time if you had it? What do you want? If I'm the first person to give you permission to ask yourself that, please take it. Please be open to accept that. Because we do not all have the same desires. And I don't care what anyone says, there is absolutely enough to go around. No matter what, there is enough to go around. So when we know what we want, we can start thinking from the place of what we desire rather than the place of limiting beliefs of what is holding us back from even attempting. So what do you want? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about that. So take a journal and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I desire? Is it something in your career? Is it something in your personal life? Is it something in your business? Is it something in your relationships? What if you just said, oh, and I'm even going to encourage you to not make it heavy. Keep it light, keep it fun. If we're here to have a human experience, what kind of experience would you like to have? Oh, I would really love that. Because we need nothing. That I can tell you for sure. We need nothing. Everything is already within you. So what would you love? What would you love to experience? I'll give you a minute to write that down in your journal. What would you love? If you already know, share it with me. What would you love? Give you a couple examples of this. 45, I got married, right? So here's an example in my personal life. If I was just like going by default, it would be like, oh, I'd really like to go on a date. Oh, I'd like to be in a relationship. I'd like to, I don't know, meet somebody. Great. That happened. Finding a date, no problem. Relationship, sure. Fulfilling, no. Why? Because I didn't identify what I would love. So after I got burnt out and like tired of dating the same guy with a different face, because everything I'm attracting is simply a reflection of what's going on within me, I had to go, wait a minute, Brooke, you're worthy of a beautiful relationship. You're worthy of being treated well. What would you love? And I wrote it down. Would I love to go on a date? No. A date is miserable when you're in your 40s. If you don't know that, I highly recommend against it until you decide what you want because it's horrible. Like, it's not fun. I have other things I can do than waste my time on a date. But when I know what I love, what I would love, and I can identify that, then it gets a little exciting. I'd love a man with, you know, if he has children, he's a great father. I mean, like the basic things, like he's got to have a job, he's got to have a house, right? But what about the fun things? What about the fun things? My daughter made a list of things she would love for her mom, 2019. And I pulled up the notes the other day and I was dying laughing. Because if you don't know what you would love, ask your kids what they would love for you. They'll tell you. Her list was like, no drugs. He's got to open doors for you. He has to get along with your kids and your dad and your brothers. He's got to be a family person. Yeah, I mean, it was like a very specific list. He has to be kind. It was very, very specific. I did that. What would I love? What would I love? Well, then things started to change. Same thing in my career. What would I love? I'd love to be a realtor. Woo! You just went and took the test. Congrats. You're a realtor. What would you love? Ooh, I'd really love to have a top producing team, or I'd love to be a single agent, or I'd love to have time and money freedom. I'd love to sell 10 million a year on my own and still take 4 vacations. Ooh, all right. Then what would you love? Where would you go? I'd love to go to Italy. Whatever it is. Love to go to Mexico with my family. What would you love? I'd love to have more time. I'd love to have more self-love. I'd love to be able to take a spa day. I'd love to work 4-hour days. So, do you just want to be a realtor? Do you just want to be a business owner? Do you just want to have a relationship? No. What's best case scenario? Write it down. What's best case scenario? Best case scenario. All right. Now, what you're going to do then is I want you to look at what it is you would love and identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. If this is something you would love, why is it not yet in your physical world? What do you want? What is the story? What's the limiting belief? Mine were, I'm not smart, so why even try? Mine were, I definitely don't have the money. I'm broke. So yeah, they can have success, but they can invest in themselves. I can't. Time, big one for me. Single mom, 2 kids, no time. I have no time. All of these were limiting beliefs, and what they really were justifying why I didn't have it. And when we believe those limiting beliefs, all we're doing is creating more of that. So if you say, okay, universe, I would love to sell 10 million in 2024, whatever that is, if you're a realtor or you're a business owner or a salesperson. That's what you would love. But here's the thing, it's the thought behind the thought that's going to create it, that's going to manifest the outcome. Here's what I mean. If you say, I would love to sell 10 million next year, and your next thought is, yeah, but I don't have any time. That is exactly what your outcome is going to be. Congratulations. Your outside world will show you why you do not have enough time to have what you desire. If you say, I would love a beautiful relationship, let's talk personal. I would love a beautiful relationship. And you say, but your next thought is, yeah, but this was mine. I'm a single mom of 2 kids who has a lot of baggage going on. I'll never be worthy of a good enough relationship. Why would anyone want me? My outside world will say, congratulations. Here's a bunch of crummy relationships because what you would your thought, your judgment, your limiting belief behind what you desire is exactly what your outcome is going to be. I would love a new job, but I'm not qualified. Ooh, Shannon, I love that. What amazing awareness. I would love a new job, but I'm not qualified. So the limiting belief that you hold is, I'm not qualified enough for what I would love. What if you just knew the next best step? What if you said, ooh, I would love that new job. And every day I'm working towards getting more qualified for it. Now, if the limiting belief is a true one, and I mean qualified by it requires a degree that you don't have, or it requires something that you don't hold, could the new belief be, I'm so excited that every day I take a step towards that. Self-limiting belief that my quality of life and quality of my client service will suffer if I grow my business. Okay. I get this one to the core. Quality of my life and quality of my client service will suffer if I further grow my business. How many of you believe that? A lot of business owners in here, a lot of entrepreneurs. The quality of life and my client service will suffer if I further grow my business. Okay. This is where we're going to go with that, Julie, because I hear you and I understand that. And is that true? No. Why? Because there are things that you are probably doing that you do not need to do. So for all of you that have that limiting belief, this is what I'm going to recommend. And this is a session I teach in my actual coaching program. And so but I'm going to go there. You guys are going to get some really good stuff here. If you have a limiting belief that your quality of life in your business and your customer service is going to go down if you set higher goals and expectations, that is exactly what will happen. Because you will be operating from the level of awareness of, this is everything I have to do in order to have a successful business. I have to do all of these activities. So that's going to create more chaos, more time. So if I want to grow my business, that means I'm going to be spending more time doing that, and my quality of life is going to suffer. Now, I've been there. That's happened. Until I understood the zone of genius. Julie, there are things that you're doing in your business that you probably do not need to be doing. So I'm going to highly recommend that if that is a limiting belief, change it. I can grow a beautiful, fabulous business. I will sell 10 million, 20 million, whatever it is that you desire next year with ease. And I will have a quality of life like no other. I will take this many vacations. I will stop working at this time. I will have this many date nights. I will have this much quality time with my family. And then what you're going to start to see, because what we do is, think about this, especially you realtors out there. If you want to get busy, plan a vacation, right? That's the golden rule. Why? Because we get so much done. Because we do the most important things first. So what I would recommend is, if that's a limiting belief, write down everything you do for the day. Write it all down. What am I doing? What's everything I'm doing? And then take a look at that list. Here's what I can pretty much promise you. 80% of what you're doing can either be delegated or dumped. It's not an income producing activity, and it's not productive for you in your business. Do you have to be the one to get the transactions through? Do you have to be the one to schedule all the inspections? Do you want to be in front of your clients? Absolutely. So look at the activities that you're doing that are high impact. And Julie, I know that your level, by the way, if you guys don't know Julie, her level of customer service is top notch. So I can absolutely understand how that would be a limiting belief, because you want to make sure that that level of customer service is maintained. But make a list of everything that you're doing. It's probably very likely that about 80% of it will not make an impact on your customer service. In fact, if you only concentrated on that 20% and doubled down on that, you would probably find that you would have more time, money, and freedom in your life if you could delegate the things that are unnecessary for you to do. If you're a business owner or you're somebody who's looking to grow your business, this goes for you too. If it is something that even your personal life, you go, okay, for me, single mom, I got to get home. I got to go to the grocery store after work. I have to clean my house. I have to do the laundry. I have to do all these things. My first hire was not for my business. My first hire was to help my personal life. It was someone to clean my house. Why? Did it make an impact on my children or on me at all? If I cleaned my house or if someone else cleaned my house? No. We just needed a clean house. Right? Then in the business, it was, does it matter if I'm the one ordering title work and getting everything to the lender and scheduling inspections and doing all those things? Does it matter who's sending the emails with the checklist type items? No. A transaction coordinator. For those of you that have other businesses and you're thinking about these tasks that really don't matter if it's something that you do or if you don't, virtual assistant might be an option. These are very, very inexpensive ways to give you time and money freedom and to keep you in your zone of genius. And your zone of genius is going to be what you do well. It's a talent of yours. And it's also going to be something you're passionate about. So you love doing it and you do it well. If you just stayed in that 20% of what you love doing and what you do well, and everything else was either delegated or dumped, Julie, you would be in front of your clients more, your customer service would go up, and your business would expand. I promise you that. We do so many things, especially as entrepreneurs, because we think that we have to do it all. We don't. We got to do the things that matter. Hopefully that was helpful. And I mean that in everything. I mean that in every part of your life. What you're going to find with me is I really got to like the whole picture. I don't like to just, want to sit here and be like, run a business and grind and do this and all the things, right? So think about this. Even in your personal life, with my kids and with like relationships, any relationships. Why do you think that the book, The 5 Love Languages was written? Because not everything is created equal. We don't all receive love the same way. So I'll go here, right? So it's the 80-20 rule with that. If you don't know the 5 love languages, it's I couldn't even tell you the author off the top of my head, but it's basically words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch. What's the 5th one? Someone help me out here. Anyway, gifts.
Gifts.
It's gifts. Thank you, Justin. It's gifts, because I'm like, wait a minute. It's gifts. Why? Because I don't think that's a big one for me. So anyway, don't get me wrong. We all love gifts. But the thing is we all feel and receive love stronger in one of those areas than we do all 5. So if we say, I want to strengthen my relationships, or I really want to strengthen a relationship either with my children or my spouse, would it take more time and effort to concentrate on doing all 5 of the love languages, making sure you're doing acts of service all the time, and making sure that you're buying gifts, and making sure that you're giving quality time, and making sure that you're always pouring into them with words of affirmation? That would be really hard to do all the time. It would take up a lot of time. It would take up a lot of energy. It would take up a lot of effort. But what if you just knew the one thing that was going to be the most impactful? What if you just knew, we're disconnected, this is what I need to do? So for instance, my husband knows that my love language is quality time. Date night, I got to have date night every week. He knows he's got to have a conversation with me like 10 minutes every day. Full attention, not in front of the TV. Okay. That makes the biggest impact on me. So that is the 20% right there. That makes the biggest impact. He doesn't need to buy me gifts all the time. If I want something, I'll go buy it. It's not part of my love language. It's not something that's going to make a huge impact. Do I like them every now and then? Yes, it's great. But it's not the one thing. So think about that even in your personal life. And I just brought up the 5 love languages because it's like everything kind of holds true to this. There is something that you can do that will expedite you the furthest. There is something that you can do in your business that will make the biggest impact. And if you double down on that and let go of the rest, you will find yourself with time and money freedom. So, Shannon, I'm not qualified. What if we just thought about the one thing that you could do that would get you closer to being qualified? Could that be a story that you're telling yourself, right? Maybe you are qualified. Maybe you need something, but what would be the one thing? Because sometimes we tell ourselves we have to do this and we have to do this, we have to do this and we have to do this and we have to do this. And then it becomes daunting and it becomes chaotic. And then we just stop before we even do. Okay. So identify what you want and then write down what your limiting beliefs are on that. What's the story that you're telling yourself? Why do you believe that other people are capable of achieving what you desire, but not you? What's the limiting belief? Shannon says, become crystal clear on what I'm actually looking for in a new job. Yes. Yes. What do you want? Absolutely. Become crystal clear on what you're looking for in a new job. Yes. Right. A lot of times we just go, I don't like this anymore, so I'm going to move on to something different. But then what we find is that because we attracted or found that job at the same level of awareness of what made us miserable, we just end up getting a job that has the same issues of what we have right now. So what do you really want? Becoming crystal clear. Couldn't have said that better. Become crystal clear. Okay. Now, when you are looking at the accuracy, when you're looking at all of those limiting beliefs that you have, what I would love for you to do is ask yourself on each of them, who says? Who says? Did I come up with that belief on my own? Did I hear that from someone else? Do I have to believe that? Is that my truth? Who says? If someone else can have time and money freedom and be a business owner and still give exceptional service, who says I'm not capable? Ooh, wait a minute. Maybe I heard that story from somewhere else. If someone else has a beautiful relationship with their kids, I don't know. Who says I can't? What's the limiting belief? And assess the accuracy. What story? Where did that story come from? Where did that story come from? A lot of us are telling ourselves stories that served us in a different phase of our lives. And it became habitual. And it no longer serves us. I have a client who was telling me about they grew up in kind of a chaotic home. And so it was just very common to try and keep the peace in the house, to kind of just do a little dance and make sure everybody was happy and kind of like, people please. That served this person when they were in the house. Does making everyone happy and keeping the peace and doing the dance now serve this person's life today? She had to look at that. She found no. This is a story I've been telling myself. I have to take on what everyone else wants. I have to put everybody else's needs ahead of mine. That's a story that no longer served her. So what stories are you still telling yourself that no longer serve you? What belief do you have? Okay. So really assess it. Assess the accuracy. When we're doing that, I want you to understand again, I'm going to go here again. Everything just is. Everything just is. It is the story that you tell that makes it your belief. Okay? Everything just is. A failed test is simply a failed test. If the story is, I'm not smart, then and that becomes the belief. Or you just go, it's a failed test. Doesn't faze me. $0 in the bank account is simply just $0 in the bank account. That's all. I think about this and I go, okay, let's use a different number. I'm raising my kids. Everything is also relative, okay? The law of relativity. So think about this too. Let's just say when I was a single mom, scraping pennies, coming home to signs on the door, utilities are shut down. Let's say I had $500 in my bank account. Coming from that level of awareness of this is a lifestyle that I live, $500 in the bank account would feel like I hit the jackpot. I like $500. I hit the jackpot. Why? Because I was so used to seeing zero. I was so used to scraping pennies. $500 in my bank account? Yeah, life is good. Today, if I look in my bank account and there's $500 balance, I'm crapping my pants. Like, what? We got robbed. What's going on? It's the same. $500 just is. $500 is just simply $500. It's the story we say about it that becomes our truth. So everything just is. What are you looking at your life and what story are you telling yourself about it? Does that make sense? Okay. So after you assess the accuracy and ask who says, whose truth is this? Do I have to believe this? Is this mine? I want you to go ahead and just write the exact opposite on the other side. The exact opposite. What's the limiting belief? What's the exact opposite of that limiting belief? What's best case scenario? What's the exact opposite? So some of the limiting beliefs here, let's see. My quality of life and quality of my client service will suffer if I further grow my business. What about this? As I further grow my business, my client service and quality of life are enhanced to a beautiful balance of time and money freedom. As I further grow my business, I'm able to give even better customer service to my clients. That's a beautiful affirmation. Okay. It's a beautiful affirmation. Then what we're going to do is we're going to change that inner story. And we're going to imagine it. The absolute best tool I have ever used in my life is one that I just started maybe a couple years ago. Meditation and visualization. Some of you might want to do this through prayer. If you do, May I suggest something? The best prayer is thank you. The best prayer is always thank you. Why? Because everything is already available to you. You just haven't seen it yet because you're operating from a level of awareness that can't. But what if you really believe everything is available to you? So when we say, I don't have enough money, I need more money, I need more money. The universe says, your wish is my command. Here is more, you need more money. Here's more, need. I don't have enough money, I can't pay my bills. Your wish is my command. Here is more, not enough money. This is exactly what you're going to create. You're going to create your outside world from exactly what you give meaning, exactly what you look at for, exactly what comes out of your mouth, exactly what you're thinking. Your thoughts absolutely must show up in your physical world. There is no other way. Everything begins with a thought. But I'm going to take that further and I'm going to say it's the thought behind the thought that is created. It is the thought behind the thought that is created. I would love a new job, but I'm not qualified. Your wish is my command. I would love more money, but I don't have any time. That's the thought behind the thought. If you're saying the yeah, but the thought, that's the thought behind the thought. So what we want to do is we want to identify what's holding us back and then tear that up, cross it out, burn it, do whatever you have to do, whatever that limiting belief is, and start to change that to an affirmation. When we do that, we can get into our imagination. When you go into your imagination, I want you to really go to the place of what you desire. Go to the place of you being the person that has it, of you showing up as that person. How are you dressing? How do you feel? How do you think? What are you doing? What are you doing in exchange to have that? Right? If I'm a top producing real estate agent, I promise you I'm not visualizing pushing paper and sending emails. I'm in front of clients. I'm with giving great customer service. I'm finding new people to talk to every day. I'm an incredible salesperson. I'm a listing magnet. I'm visualizing that. Get into the feeling. So visualize what you want and then get into the feeling. Who are you and what are you doing? The reason that we want to tap into our imagination and the reason why it will absolutely be the one tool you can use that will expedite your results to what you want the fastest is because your mind does not know the difference between whether or not you are telling it something from the past or whether or not you are telling it something from your future. But what I do know is that if you keep on telling your mind everything that happened to the past, you are consistently reliving that and you are consistently getting more of that. Now think about that. How many people do you know that would love to have more in their life, but they had something happen to them and they cannot let that go. We all know those people, right? Those are the people that I now go, "Ooh, yeah, gotta go." Right? I don't want to sit and hear the story of how bad your life is and how bad you have it and how, yes, I'm empathetic and I feel for you, but I also know that by you retelling that story constantly and by you reliving your past, your results will not change. Why? Because you're staying in that vibration, you're staying in that story, you're telling yourself that this is what is your life, that this is what you're worthy of, that this is what you'll have, that you're telling yourself your limiting beliefs constantly. I want to be the first one to say to you, whatever you went through in your past does not determine what your future looks like unless you choose to keep reliving it. And I will tell you, I know some of you on this call, I know some of your backstory. And where you are at today from your backstory needs to be told to other people so that they can see it's possible too. Because some of you on this call have done amazing things by changing the story that you have within. And I have to just say it. I know that this is a masterclass, but seeing some of the names on here and knowing exactly where you are today and what you went through, I am honored that you are here. And if you are not hearing me, you have to tell your story. That's why you're here. You changed your inner story, and so you changed your future. You decided that's enough. It stops here. This is it. No more. This is where I'm going. This is the new belief. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could show the world how to do that? Yeah. We have to imagine a new future. We cannot keep on reliving what happened to us. Okay, so how do you do that? Get into your imagination. At least 10 minutes a day. At least 10 minutes a day. What happens when you get into your imagination? You start to change your identity. You start to see yourself as that person. You start to see who you are desiring to be, what you're desiring to do, what you're desiring to have. You see yourself as the $20 million agent, successful business owner. You see yourself in front of the clients, hosting the parties, doing whatever it is that you want to do. You see yourself doing the activities. You see yourself having the life that you desire and that you built. And because you're able to visualize that, everything you see becomes in line with that. But in order to create a new story, you have got to get into your imagination. And that is the one thing that most business owners, or not business owners, sorry, business coaches don't coach. They'll tell you the systems, they'll tell you the processes, but I hit a wall with what I wanted to do in my life because I didn't know that getting into my imagination was essential to stop operating from the story I was telling myself from the past. How could I double my business or build a better life or do different things if I was still operating from a place of shame? I'm still operating from a place of I'm broke or I'm not worthy or all the things. It will help me. It will get me to a place that I couldn't get to without the systems, that I couldn't get to without the accountability and the coaching. But I can only go as far as I can see for myself. And if I can't see anything bigger for myself and I'm still operating from my identity of being broke, broken, unworthy, carrying shame, not smart, I'm not going to be able to see very far ahead. Some of you are doing really amazing things in your business, but you're here because you want something more. You came here. I do not believe in coincidences. You accepted the invitation to come here for whatever reason it is. There is something more that you desire. The only way to do that is to get into your imagination and see it. Tell your subconscious mind the new story. Change the identity. Once you have that new story, this is what we're going to do. You're going to write those positive affirmations, but every decision you make comes from that version of you. You just created a new identity. You just created a new identity. I am a woman who. I am a person who. I am Brooke Pashier, and I am a very driven woman who has time and money, who has tons of love in her life. Why do I say that? Instead of, I am Brooke Pashier, I am a wife, a mother, a business owner, and a homeowner. Why do I say the first thing I said instead of the second thing? Anyone want to take a gander?
I personally like the way the first one sounded.
Okay. Was there any reason why?
I don't know. It just sounded more elegant.
Okay. I love that. You know what? I'm going to put that in there too. I'm an elegant driven woman. I love it. Here's why. Everything I said cannot be taken away from me. Absolutely nothing about that is dependent on my outside world, on my outside circumstances. Nothing can be taken away from me. But if I identify as a realtor, a homeowner, yes, that is what I do, but that is not who I am. Who do I need to be to have what I desire? That's what I do. But when I know who I am not attached to it. I don't get totally torn down, broken down if something's taken away. I am a very driven woman who is a successful business owner, and no matter what, I make an impact on people, and the right people find me every time they need to. Does that matter then? If something gets taken away? No. My identity doesn't change. I know that about me. I am a woman who loves fully and attracts love and receives love, is love. Absolutely. My identity doesn't change if something happens to someone I love, which we all know it has. My identity doesn't change. I'm not unlovable now because I lost someone that I loved. I am lovable because I am lovable. So we're changing the identity of how we see ourselves. Who are you? Let that be your story. What you do is the activity, the act of what you do in exchange for what you have. Does that make sense? I am this person who does this for exchange of what I have. Meaning we understand the give and take. We understand the difference between what I will call the masculine and the feminine energy. The masculine energy, and I don't mean men and women, they're are energies. The masculine energy is the do, the grind, the work hard, the put the hours in. By the way, I am a very feminine woman on the outside. I understand that. But before I knew the difference in energies, my energy was extremely masculine. I'm a doer. My husband still has to come in sometimes, be like, you're done. Okay. I'm a doer. I have a tendency, and I know a lot of you in here too, have a tendency to just do and grind. And by the way, which is why we think that if we want to have a bigger, better business or more or do bigger things, we automatically go to the place of more chaos, more time. Until I learned this secret. Tapping into my imagination, tapping into my feminine energy is what has been the one thing that has been expediting my results more than any grind I could ever do. The reason why is because now every decision I make comes from the version of me that I imagine. Every decision. If it does not bring me joy or it does not move me towards my goals or further me into what it is that I desire, the answer is no. The answer is no. Why? Why would I do anything else? If it does not bring me joy and it does not move me further, the answer is no. I'm sending out a mixed prayer or a mixed message to the universe of everything that I want. If I'm a yes person, I'm prioritizing things that don't matter to me because I have a limiting belief. Because maybe a limiting belief is I'll be judged. Huge limiting belief that I had held for a long time. Why? Because I didn't have enough insight or enough self-love to know that I was worthy of it anyway. And so I put that on other people's opinions of me. So when someone would say something negative to me, I would fall apart. I mean, it would knock me down. Why? The only reason something will knock you down when someone else says something to you or when something else happens to you in the outside world is because somewhere you believe it on the inside. Somewhere you believe that. Somewhere you hold that limiting belief. High school, if someone said to me, Brooke, yeah, you dummy, you failed another test. Or don't take that class, it's way too hard for you. Or don't even apply to college, there's no way you're going to get in. My feelings would be really hurt. It would knock me down. Why? Because I believed it to be true. I believed it. Now, if someone says to me, yeah, Brooke, you're not smart enough, I'd be like, okay, watch me. Moving on, doesn't matter. I'm not going to carry that as my truth. Doesn't matter. That is just as relevant to me as if someone were to say to me, it's 100 degrees outside right now. I'd be like, that's not true. Okay, moving on. I don't have to take that on as truth. But I worried so much about what other people thought of me. So I wasn't able to really kind of think about what it is I wanted. Limiting belief. People will judge me. I'm going to tell you this too. People only judge what they see through their lens. Before we go, and we'll wrap it up here in just a minute, I want to talk about judgment. Because it's really important that we understand what judgment is before we get into tomorrow. our truths of what we believe are what we judge of what is actually just is. So if someone is doing something in your outside world that really bothers you, what are we really doing? Judging. We all do it. We'll probably never not do it. But the only reason that we're judging is because we're coming from a place from what we see within, that lens. Okay? We're just coming from that place, that lens. So think about that. What am I judging in other people? What do I feel judged by? Judgment is a limiting belief. Okay? So tomorrow, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this all up. But I want you to put the work in tonight. Again, some of you are going to come here for entertainment and some of you are going to come here for a transformation. Come here for the transformation. Just knowing this information isn't going to change anything. So what do you want? Shannon, I'm going to encourage you to get really specific on that. What do you want? What do you desire? Write down the limiting beliefs that have held you back. What are your limiting beliefs? Go deep on this. Really identify them. If you can't come up with any, that's a limiting belief that you don't have any. Because if you did, every new level of you you're going to have limiting beliefs on it, okay? Because if you didn't, you'd already have it. You'd already be doing have what you desire. So what's the limiting belief? And then assess the limiting belief. Do I believe this to be true? Is this true? Where did this come from? Do I have to believe that? Write the exact opposite down of what you desire to be, do, and have, and get into your imagination. 10 minutes every day. Get into your imagination. Okay? When you do this, again, you're going to start operating from that place. Every decision then comes from that version of you. No longer do you do things that don't bring you to that place. It will start to feel uncomfortable to do those things. Why? Because we always default to what's comfortable. We always default to what we know. So we have to make the new identity so much our truth that anything other than that starts to feel uncomfortable. Does that make sense? The reason that we do not go towards our goals or what we desire is if we have not imagined it and we have not put our place there in our mind, when it actually shows up in our physical world, it feels scary. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like an unknown place. So even if we have things in our lives that are unhealthy and we consciously know that they are unhealthy for us, if they are a habit of yours or if they are something that you grew up with, they are still comfortable for you. You have to get comfortable with the new version. And the only way to do that is to see yourself as the new version and start making decisions from there. Uncomfortable doesn't mean bad. It just means we're going to probably default to what is comfortable. So make the new version comfortable, okay? After you do this, and I am actually going to end a little early today because I don't want time to be the reason why we didn't do it when we show tomorrow. This gives you time to do the work. I know you had till noon blocked out. Keep till noon blocked out. Put that in. Write down the limiting beliefs. and then 10 minutes into your imagination. When we gather tomorrow, we're going to wrap this up into how to really get into the absolute identity of the new version of you. And you're going to start to discover all the power that you hold within. And we're going to start to build that new identity. But in order to build the new identity, we have to know what we want and identify what's holding us back. And then when we meet tomorrow, you're going to have a really clear vision of this. You're going to have seen it. You're going to have felt it. You're going to know it. And you're going to discover exactly how to achieve that. You're going to discover the power you hold within. Okay. So show up tomorrow, same time, same link. Put the work in. Don't just come here for the entertainment. Put the work in, do it, give yourself that gift. And then tomorrow we're going to create the identity of the version of you that you so desire and you're worthy of. Okay. So yes, I'm ending early, but that doesn't mean that the end time is noon. Take the next 20 minutes to put the work in for you. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Same time. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.